Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, we're doing another episode of Bytes and Nibbles with Breck today. Now, this one has kind of an interesting story how this one came along. This recipe actually comes to me from my cousin's wife, Michelle. And the origins of how this even started starts back at Christmas. Michelle sent my mother a spice called saffron. And saffron is a Persian spice that's supposedly the rarest and most expensive spice in the world. Now, my mom isn't really that adventuresome when it comes to cooking and didn't know what to do with this, so she gave it to me. And honestly, I didn't know what to do with it either. So I sent a text message to Michelle asking her, hey, you have some ideas, what I could do with this. And she sent me a couple of good recipes, and we're going to revisit those at some point. And I'm going to make some chicken and some other things with this spice. But when she found out I was doing some vlogging and some recipe vlogs, she sent me a recipe that we're going to try today. I'm not doing any entrees at this point because I'm still trying to clean out my refrigerator from past recipe vlogs. But this is kind of a cool little hors d'oeuvre that's really simple to do, and according to her, it's very, very good. And I mean, it sounds really good. There's two whole ingredients in the whole thing, and a couple of optional ingredients which we're going to add to make it a little bit more interesting. But we're going to try this. It's a zucchini with Parmesan cheese on it, and it's baked, and it's supposedly really good as a hors d'oeuvre. So we're going to try that today. So our primary ingredients here are two medium-sized zucchinis, half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, fresh grated Parmesan cheese. And then the optional ingredients are some garlic salt and a little fresh ground pepper. Now, like I said, you can choose to use that if you want or not. I am going to actually use it because I think the whole thing sounds like it's going to be a real good option here. But like I said, if you just want to do the zucchini and the Parmesan cheese, that's all that's really required for the recipe. Now, one of the things that was mentioned to me by Michelle and is also mentioned repeatedly in the recipe is that people who aren't really into zucchini generally still really love this. Michelle's kids, according to her, just can't get enough of these things, and it's the same with the person who wrote the recipe. She keeps saying her baby can't keep away from them. She loves them so much. So that's a good thing. Also, additionally, Michelle mentions that these are low in carbs and very, very friendly with people who have like diabetes and that kind of thing. So something else to consider. Now, the first step in the recipe is to wash and dry your zucchinis and then to cut them into 1/4-inch slices. So I'm going to do that right now. Now, at this stage in the recipe, you would preheat your oven to 425 degrees and move one of the racks to the center of the oven. I'm actually going to wait and do that for a couple minutes because when you're cooking a recipe by yourself versus cooking it and filming it, it takes a little bit longer when you're doing the filming process. So I am going to hold off on doing that for a minute. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just slicing my zucchini into about 1/4-inch slices. And then we'll do the same with the other one. Now, the recipe also says if you wish you can use squash for this, but the downside with the squash is it tends to bring the carbs up a little bit, so something to think about. And there we go. We got 2 zucchinis cut up into about 1/4-inch slices. All right, so the next step now is you want to spread the zucchini slices out onto a cookie sheet. Now, there's 2 options available to you. You can either use a slice of parchment paper if you want, or you can use aluminum foil with a little bit of cooking spray on it. I don't have any parchment paper, so I'm going to just go with the aluminum foil and cooking spray option here. And basically what you want to do is you just want to put single layers of of the zucchini onto the aluminum foil. It's okay if they touch. The recipe I'm actually going to post for you actually shows the zucchini not touching. And don't drop it on the ground like I just did. But the author admitted that she just did that just to make it look good on the film. And you know what? It's more important that it worked than it looked pretty on camera. So it doesn't matter if they touch. Just kind of spread them out real well here. They get a little slippery at times. That's okay, especially when you're touching the cooking spray here on the aluminum foil. It happens. I wasn't sure how this was all going to work out space-wise, just because I wasn't sure if I would need to do 2 batches of this. And there we have all of our zucchini on the cooking tray. Next, I'm going to just apply a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, just kind of giving a light coating everywhere on this. I got the pepper mill kind of ground down, or wound down a little bit, so it's making nice little small chunks of pepper rather than the big chunks that I usually like to do on things. But that's your call on that. Just kind of making sure I get a good coating everywhere here. And then we're going to also do a light dusting with the garlic salt. I generally like garlic salt, so that's why I kind of elected to go with this option. And then next I'm just going to take a little spoonfuls of the Parmesan cheese and apply a little bit to each piece. Very simple. Recipe says you'll only probably need about half a cup of it, but I just bought a tin of it because you can always use Parmesan cheese on spaghetti and stuff like that, so it's not like it won't get used. And then let's just do a little bit more coating here in some of the areas that look like it's a little thin. And I think we are there now. Now we just got to wait for the oven to heat up, and we'll be ready to go put this in. Alright, so the oven is ready to go. It's preheated to 425. So let's put these in. And what we are going to do is we're going to bake it at 425 for 15 to 20 minutes. Now they recommend the first time you do it, you kind of let it go for 15 minutes and check and make sure that the cheese is looking good, because you want it to be a little bit browned on the top, but you don't want it to burn. So I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes and we'll look at it then. Alright, we're at 15 minutes now. Let's see how we look. Yeah, I think we can give it another 5. Alright, we are at the 20-minute mark now. Oh yeah, that looks good. That's ready to come out. Put that right there. Just a little bit browned on top. They smell terrific. Now the recipe says serve immediately, but I'm actually going to give them a minute or two to cool off. I don't want to scorch my mouth, but those look really good. Alright, so I transferred these onto a plate a little bit just to help them cool off a little bit. So it's taste test time. Just going to pick one up here and Yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. It's zucchini with salt, with garlic salt, a little bit of black pepper, and mozzarella cheese. It's actually pretty good. This would be great for like an hors d'oeuvre or something like that. It's really healthy, really tasty. So yeah, I would recommend this one. So anyway, I think that's all that I have for this episode. Make sure if you have your own recipes that you send them in to me at escapingthemouse@gmail.com. And I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.